Hi guys, Tom Wilmot here for Zeelander Flytrap Trading System in Forex. Hope you're all doing great. And I'd like to do a couple of things in this video. Just quickly, we're going to talk about the pound and the yen, the Great British Pound versus the Japanese yen. This is a 1 hour chart, and I've got it up here first just to show you, again, to review quickly the indicators that we have at work, and also to show you the enormous volatility that has been embedded in this pair and in all the pound pairs for the last 2 or 3 months as Great Britain gets ready to go to the polls on Thursday and decide whether they want to stay in the European Union or get out. And so what we're going to do is to check back in time and see the volatility. We're also going to drop down to a 15-minute chart, and we're going to use this currency pair to solidify our understanding of method 2 from the book, which was a new method that I stumbled upon as we were looking to try to shave back the amount of risk we'd have to take to get into a trade and improve the probability of success even beyond 65%. So I think you'll find this is an interesting and helpful strategy. So in this particular case, once again, notice that on the 1 hour chart on Sunday evening, today's Tuesday the 21st, that's this period right here, on Sunday evening we had the big gap up as the polls indicated that the exit people were losing momentum and the stay in the union people were going to win the day. And this has not changed much over the course of the last 24 to 48 hours. We have in place here our chandelier. It changed from a downward trend on last Friday, to an upward supported trend here. We had a move of the medallion, crossover of the 12 EMA and the 24, and we also have our trusty T3 in place. So it looked in this particular area from here over to here that we were definitely in a buy zone. Now, of course, as we get out further in time, as we remember from our trading room, we don't necessarily want to take a trade that's downstream from the changeover and the change in signals on the higher time frames and even in the 15-minute chart. So in any event, you'd want to be more cautious here about getting into a buy, waiting for something to happen that looked more like this. Now, in this particular case, let's see what we do with method 2. We would put this horizontal line in place right around the position of the medallion. And because this was a down candle on the 1 hour chart, we'd probably place it in between the medallion and the top closing value. Notice that we would not get into a long trade last Friday. We did not have a crossover of our moving averages past the Zeelander Signal Line until that opening on Sunday night. And in this gap up situation, you'd want to be very careful because if the stop loss level is just below this line, this is a little rich for your blood. We had a nice move higher, but on the other hand, you don't want to take that much risk. Now, if we were to drop down, and we will later, to 15-minute chart, we could modify that risk a little bit. But let's go back in time also and see how we'd use Zeelander Flytrap in another instance. Let's actually delete. We can delete our chandelier here. We can see that we've had a crossover of the T3 in this area, and instead of worrying about our old way of putting in the buy and sell zone, we'll change now to this particular one. And we note that what's happening here is very clear. We have that downward thrust, that 45-degree angle on the chart, and because we had this crossover, we're very safe in assuming once the moving averages have crossed down and we're below the T3 that we are in a confirmed downtrend. Once again, this is a 1 hour chart, so it's one you don't have to check all the time in order to be careful. Bottom line here, once again, once you've passed this point and you're out in time, it's less predictable as to whether that pullback is going to result in just a confirmation and a consolidation trend. This is the area right after that you want to get involved. You can see that here, if we were to drop down to a 30-minute chart, we can see, when we move over here, we'll go quickly. we can see that when we move over here, we have all of those telltale signs. We have the bats in the cave that we talked about in the book. We have just hanging on the ceiling of this thing. We would put our stop loss just above the Zeelander Signal Line, and off we go to the races. Now, one last thing I want to share with you here. Notice that this was a very significant up candle on a white medallion. And one of the things I really like the best about this new methodology in terms of eliminating risk, please notice that the reason that this thing never materialized into a really significant uptrend, notice what happened. Our 1224 moving average band never was able to penetrate the Zeelander Signal Line. So you would not get into the trade here. You'd want to wait until such time as that it really made a significant move higher. And there's nothing wrong for having that happen and then taking the first pullback into the bands. Let's see if we can find another place here just quickly before we finish that we would like to take this and see how it works. And sure enough, here is our upward facing medallion. We're crossed over the T3. Okay, we have a very positive RSI. It has not been able to break down through the 45 at all. 45.55 mid-range band we used before. Notice that. So we're going to put our signal line here. We have our red. Okay, notice how this pulls back. It tests this very position, this line right here, bounces. As soon as you see this bounce, you have a wonderful risk reward. You have somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 pips down, and this moved 300 pips before it was all done. So anytime you see this pull back to this band, this Zeelander Signal Line, and then a repulsion, a rejection of it with a move higher, you can see this is another pullback into the bands at a little higher level. You'd want to, after this is over, move with a trailing stop, move your stop loss higher. Once again, at this particular moment in time, you're locked into profits as you trade up through this particular move to the high side. So I hope that helps. Good luck with your trading this week and keep in touch. Thanks for joining us. See you in the next video.